Inspired by Lady Gregory.
Celebrating the creativity of the children of Galway.
Hello, my name is Marie.
And I'm John. We are both actors with Druid Theatre Company.
Welcome to Druid's McLally Theatre.
We are here upstairs in the rehearsal room to read a selection of the amazing work that you, the primary school children of Galway, sent us.
We invited children all over Galway to get inspired by Lady Gregory and to get writing. And you certainly did that.
Everything you sent us was just fantastic. We wish we could read it all to you, but we'd never get to our next show on time if we did.
So, we will read a small selection, but do keep your eyes peeled. Even if your story isn't read out, you might just spot some of your artwork during the video.
Activity 1, your favourite reading spot.
Lady Gregory loved to read. She particularly loved reading to her grandchildren by the fire in the library of her house in Coole Park.
We asked you where your favourite reading spot might be. Let's take a look at some of the responses that we received.
So, we have one here from Shifra in Clare, Galway, Educate Together National School. And Shifra is 6 years old, and she said, "My favourite place to read books is on my bed in my room and with my sister beside me." And she said, "I like to read here because it is nice and warm."
And look at the bed, all the twirly things.
All the twirly things around the bed, Shifra. And then we see you lying on your bed with your little sister beside you, and that's lovely. It's a lovely, lovely picture, isn't it, John?
Yeah, I'd love a bed like that myself.
I would love a bed like that too. That's really good. And then the second girl is Clodagh, and Clodagh is 5 years old, and she's from National School Niamh Illa in Cleggan, County Galway. And she said, "My favourite place to read books is on my beanbag." And she said, "I like to read here because it is relaxing." And we have a lovely picture. Do you see the big black beanbag? And there's Clodagh sitting on top of it with
and
her
she's
book.
a big smile on her face.
Oh, beautiful big smile. And lovely big eyes, Clodagh. Oh, you look lovely on your beanbag. That's a lovely photo.
And is that her little dog beside her?
Oh, that might be her little dog. Yes, I think it is. Little dog or cat beside her on her beanbag. That's lovely.
Now, I have one from Rocha at St. Oliver Plunkett National School, Newcastle, Athenry, County Galway.
Oh, lovely.
Now, my favourite place to read books is in the sitting room with Granny and Grandad beside me and my brother on my lap. And I like to read there because I love reading to Earl.
Look at that lovely picture, John.
Oh, look at that. That's
and
a room.
Her little
and that's
brother
the fire, isn't it?
That's a room in the fire, yeah. And the little brother on her lap. Do you see the little brother,
Oh,
baby
yes,
brother?
I do.
Isn't that a lovely picture?
Yeah, very good.
So good. Great.
Now I have another one here. Oh, this is very colourful.
Yes.
This is from Connor, from Carnmore. Now, my favourite place to read books in is my bedroom. It is very quiet and comfy. Oh yes.
What a glorious
Now,
picture.
there's an extra piece at the back.
Oh, yes.
And I can lock the door and I can relax. I like to read big, long stories with lots of words in it. It is very fun, and you have a break from your brother and your parents.
That's great, Connor.
I always read 49 pages a day. My goodness.
That's a lot of pages.
That's more pages than I read.
It is. That's very good, Connor. Well done.
Very well done, Connor.
Activity 2, your ideal writing spot.
Many famous writers went to Coole Park to write and find inspiration for their work.
We asked you where your ideal writing spot might be. Let's take a look at some of your responses.
Well, I have one here from Ben, from Carnmore. Now, my ideal writing spot would be on my puppy's bed with my puppy on my lap.
Oh, lovely.
And this special place might inspire me to create stories about my puppy and my cat and my 2 fish. And their names are fish and chips and speedy and hurling.
That's brilliant names. That's brilliant
Great
names there, Ben.
And who have you got, Marie?
Now, I've got a response from Holly, who's in Cleggan. And Holly says, my ideal writing spot would be on a rock or the sand at Sheddy's Beach. It is also called Druid. Isn't that lovely?
Oh, lovely.
And she said, this special place might inspire me to create stories about the shapes of shells, what animals live in them, and whether the waves are bigger or smaller here than at Russadillisk. That must be a place very near where you live.
Isn't that a terrific picture,
It's
Marie?
a beautiful picture.
I mean, all the crabs, you see, and all the
see
different shaped shells.
I see that, John. That's really fantastic.
I hope she doesn't fall off that rock.
Oh, I know. She looks very happy, doesn't she, John?
Does.
She does, with her book and everything. That's a lovely one, Holly. Thank you.
Activity 3, collect a story.
Lady Gregory collected stories from the people around her, the people of Galway.
Following in her footsteps, we asked you to collect some stories from the people around you.
A quick phone call to some of the older people in your lives produced some wonderful stories.
Some of you spoke to your grandparents.
And some of you spoke to your neighbours.
I have here a story from Ellie, aged 9, from Cleggan in County Galway. Now, how Inishboffin got its name, that's the name of the story. And here it is. My granddad told me that the island of Cleggan was always covered in a cloud. One day, 2 fishermen came across it when they were fishing, and they got lost in a thick fog. When they got hungry, they lit a fire to cook a fish. The fire dissolved the cloud, and the whole island became visible. The first thing they saw was a white-haired woman chasing a white cow, and so the name, the Island of the White Cow, or Inishboffin.
Oh, lovely.
Isn't that a lovely story? And look, Ellie has drawn a picture of the 2 men
In the boat.
in the boat, and the 2 men lighting the fire, and the woman driving the cow on the island.
Wow, it's beautiful. It's really well drawn, the sea, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's a lovely picture, Ellie. Well done. And I have one from Cahill in Carnmore. And he got this story from his neighbour, Mary Johnson. So this is it. My neighbour Mary walked 2 miles to school every day with her brothers. They saw curlews and swans down by the waterways and boglands and the Mullen Lake. In the evening, walking home, they heard curlews singing. Mary thought they sounded lonely. The end.
That's lovely.
That's a lovely story.
Lovely
from
story.
Cahill.
They're the curlews.
They're the curlews singing. Do you see the notes
Yes,
outside and the swans on the lake?
Oh, yeah.
And then there's Mary walking home with her brothers.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I see them now.
You see them down there smiling.
Yeah.
Lovely picture. Well done, Cahill. That's brilliant. Fantastic. Activity 4. Write your own story.
Lady Gregory wrote many different plays, poems and stories.
We invited you to write your own stories inspired by the title of one of Lady Gregory's plays.
I wish we could read all your stories because they're brilliant.
But we hope you enjoyed this story by Katie. The Rising of the Moon by Katie, aged 12. Scoil náisiúnta Bhaile Clár na Gaillimhe.
They say that the sun rises from the sea every morning and dries off as it is suspended in the sky. It hangs off a puppet string and is pulled up by an invisible demigod of sorts. Nobody knows who this demigod is. Some say that the person controls both orbs, the sun and the moon, and makes sure that both of them are shining as bright as a sparkling star. Others say that the moon is the main power source for the sun. So every night a small portion of it is drained like a battery. And whenever the moon would run out of power, the demigod would soak the orb in the glittering ocean to replenish it for the next night.
One blissful afternoon, when the birds were singing their hearts out with delight, a young boy asked his mother a question. "Mother, who is the god of the sun and the moon?" His mother would smile and reply, "Nobody knows who they are." And so the young boy would pick up his hunting bow and say, "Then I shall find this demigod," he declared, "whoever they may be." The mother laughed at her son's determination, but did not deny his statement. "Very well, I shall give you my best advice. Go search for this demigod only when they are recharging the moon's power."
So the sun set off that evening towards the sea. When he reached the land's edge, the moon had already risen, and the boy could have sworn he saw a light thread gently tugging at the orb, slowly raising it up. No one had ever gotten that close to the land's edge. They were much too scared of the crashing waves that were thought to pull you under if you veered too close. And if the waves didn't send you to your demise, then surely the king of Atlantis would, or the raging merfolk, or the demigod themselves. Whether the sea was friendly or not, the boy would not give up. He settled down on the beach and waited. And waited.
On the fifth night, the moon was finally on its last tiny sliver of power. As night fell, the boy could hear light taps and raps coming from somewhere beyond the ocean. He sucked in a deep breath, and with great bravery, he plunged into the inky ocean. The waves did threaten to pull him under, but so far there were no merfolk or an angry king. Soon enough, the boy's arms began to tire, and he kept coming up for gulps of air. He hurried on, wanting to catch the demigod whilst they were restoring the moon's power. The boy was far out in the ocean now, his hunting bow dripping wet and his quiver soaked to the core. Suddenly, he felt something tug at his feet. "Merfolk!" The boy immediately kicked his shoes off and powered through the water, feeling the merfolk chase him. His legs were kicking and their tails swishing. They practically flew across the waves. The merfolk were faster. They caught up, grabbing him and bringing him all to a stop. The merfolk circled round him, preparing to drag him under.
When a huge, long, translucent string was lowered down, and it wrapped around the boy and pulled him out of the water. The owner of the string looked at him as he dangled from the puppet thread. It was the demigod of the sun and moon, day and night, light and dark. "Who dares disturb me from my cycle?" The boy gulped. "I am a curious human who has gone through trial to find you." The demigod narrowed their eyes. "Why are you curious?" "I was willing to risk my breath to meet whoever controlled the light that grows our crops, offers us sight, and goes through much effort to keep us humans thriving." The demigod frowned. "I do all this for humans?" The boy nodded. "I always thought I went through the day and night cycle for nothing." "Nothing? Your work keeps us alive. Why don't you show your face to us? Are you shy?" The demigods shook their head. "I'm afraid of you, your bright-coloured clothing, your exotic-smelling food." "You don't have to be scared. We won't harm you. And we can give you the bright-coloured clothing and the exotic-smelling food."
And so, that's how the demigod was discovered. They swam back to civilization, and the people welcomed them with open arms. And all was well. Thank you, Katie. That was such a beautiful story, wasn't it, John?
Terrific
And
story.
look at the beautiful picture she sent in with it.
Oh, it's a lovely picture.
Isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's so atmospheric.
Thank you so much, Katie. That's wonderful. Thank you. We want to say a big thank you from everyone in Druid to all the children who worked so hard and sent in so many beautiful drawings and writings.
You were inspired by Lady Gregory, and we think she would be thrilled with all the wonderful work that you've done.
If you haven't joined in yet, don't worry.
You can get involved and find all these activities on the Druid website. Well, will we say goodbye, Marie?
We'll say goodbye, John.
Bye.
So bye,
And thanks very much for everything.
and well done.